Bismillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah, amma ba'du. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Apa kabar pemirsa? Saat ini Anda ditemani oleh saya, Randi Satria, masih dalam program acara Muslim Journey. Baiklah pemirsa, saat ini kita kedatangan tamu spesial, seorang da'i dan ulama internasional yang berasal dari Kanada dan keturunan Jamaika. Beliau adalah Dr. Abu Aminah Bilal Phillips. Dan langsung saja kita sapa ke beliau. Assalamualaikum, Dokter.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My pleasure to be here.
Doctor, can we pause for a moment? So, because I want to explain to the viewers about yourself. Pemirsa, bagi Anda yang belum mengenal Dr. Abu Aminah Bilal Phillips sebelumnya, bisa saya jelaskan sedikit. Jadi, Dr. Bilal Phillips adalah seorang ulama Islam yang berdomisili di Qatar. Beliau lahir di Jamaika pada tanggal 6 Januari 1946 dan dibesarkan di Kanada, dan memiliki seorang kakek yang berprofesi sebagai sarjana Alkitab dan pendeta Kristen. Beliau memeluk Islam dan menerima gelar BA dari Islamic University of Medina. Kemudian, beliau melanjutkan studinya di Riyadh di King Saud University. Di tahun 1990, beliau mendapatkan gelar PhD dari Wales University. Beliau juga merupakan pendiri dari Pusat Informasi Islam atau Discover Islam di Dubai, dan beliau juga menjadi dosen teologi Islam dan telah membentuk Islamic Online University yang berpusat di Qatar. Doctor, if I'm not mistaken, this seems to be your second visit to Indonesia, right?
No, maybe it's my fourth or fifth.
Oh, your fourth and fifth.
The second visit, in recent between last year and this year, but I've come years before. 2 or 3 other times.
Dr. Bilal Phillips, can you tell me what is the purpose of your touring in Indonesia?
Well, the main purpose is to promote the university, my university, the Islamic Online University, which has over 1,000 students, maybe 1,500 students here in Indonesia, to see the problems that they're facing and what can be done to help find solutions for them. And also to sign agreements with various institutions, educational institutions that are here in the country, so that we can do certain projects together, and this would help to increase the credibility of the Islamic Online University and the knowledge of the people regarding it. And then, of course, I was also asked to give lectures at different mosques and centers, etc., and I've been doing that also.
Doctor, can you tell to the viewers who don't know about you before about your journey in finding the guidance of Islam, Doctor?
Well, we can say I was raised in a Christian family, born in Jamaica, grew up in Canada as a Christian, came to live in Malaysia, East Malaysia, Sabah, for a few years as a Christian also. But when I went to university, I became a student activist, and through that activism, I found communism and became a communist. So I was active in the Communist Party in the US and in Canada as a means for changing society. I joined the communist movement, believing that it had the answer to correcting the problems that exist amongst the world, people all over the world, whether it's economic or social or, so on and so. But after some years as a communist, I came to understand that it really didn't have the solution. Communism was very vicious. The people who proposed it were slaughtered many of their people in China and Russia, etc. So I was still looking for that way which would fulfill the needs of human beings in society. It would govern all of their lives and provide and establish, justice and equality, brotherhood, and all these types of things in the world. And alhamdulillah, Allah showed me Islam as I entered into that stage of searching.
Doctor, but your parents are teachers, and even your grandfather was a pastor. So whether at the time you grew up as a devout Christian, Doctor?
Yeah, I grew up as, I wouldn't say a devout Christian, as a practicing Christian. I used to go to the church and listen, but not really listening that carefully. So Christianity was more, of a cultural thing for me. and my family, children, etc. My brothers and sisters. So it wasn't that difficult for me to leave Christianity because it didn't have any systems. It didn't have any political, economic systems which could change the world. It was just something spiritual.
Okay, doctor, I hear you heard studied socialism and communism in China. What is that makes you end up to living in the doctor?
I didn't live there, you know. I didn't live there. I mean, I wanted to go and study when I had done as much as I could in North America. I did want to go to China to study further, but at that time, Allah opened the door, for me to see Islam. So, huh? Yes. So, you know, all my plans were put aside and I became a Muslim instead.
Okay, doctor, what is your biggest reason to move away from Christianity and communism? I mean, the specific reason for leaving both of that.
Well, as I mentioned, I left Christianity because it didn't have systems for changing the world. I joined communism believing that it had the system, but then found out that it wasn't really applicable around the world. Communism lost out to capitalism. And it didn't have a real solid moral base. This is one of the things that I saw as flaws in the communist teachings. And it was very vicious, very harsh in dealing with members of society who don't share their views. So I saw this as something really not good for human beings.
When you returned to the campus, you began studying the teaching of Islam and a lot of reading of Islamic literature. Until then, you decided to talk Shahada and converted to Islam in 1972. What do you feel at the time? After you converted to Islam in 1972?
Well, alhamdulillah, when I became a Muslim, then the way forward in life became clear. What we call Sirat al-Mustaqim was clear. Before that, I was bumbling around. I didn't know right from wrong, really unsure. What should I do? What should I not do? Whereas Islam provided a clear, straight way, that could be followed by anybody, anywhere, anytime. So it was, for me, an enlightenment. I felt at peace in the sense that the way forward was clear. I didn't have to be doing all that thinking, etc. And I could say that in general, it affected my own character in terms of how I dealt with my parents. It stressed the importance of being kind and gentle with parents. So I became different from my brothers and sisters who would blame any problem they had in life on my parents. They'd say, because of you, we had this and we had that problem. They would always blame it on them. So Islam taught me, rather than blaming them, to respect them and to love them.
Doctor, what about the response about your close friends after you converted to Islam?
What about?
What the response about your close friends after you converted to Islam?
When of course, my friends who were in the Communist Party, they thought I had, I had lost it. What happened, just as when I came in because somebody else had converted, and that caused me to want to read, So I tried to explain to them. My parents were, of course, quite happy with my accepting Islam. They didn't have any problem with that.
Okay, doctor, after your embracing to Islam, you decided to go to Saudi Arabia, right? And studying there. How long have you studied Islam in Saudi Arabia, doctor?
Well, I studied for 6 years in Medina, 4 years in Riyadh for the masters. I mean, I did continue to study for my PhD, though the examinations and everything, my thesis was defended in Wales. But you could say at least 10 years, you could say, or possibly 12, 13 years, I formally studied. But then informally, of course, I'm reading all the time. I've written over 50 books, on various Islamic topics. So I'm constantly reading new material, reading up on the latest materials, and trying to convey that, in English medium anyway.